What's going on YouTube? CloverBells here, back with a rental code video because it is the first of a month. It is July. This is now the 6th month of Series 12, and once again, all that means is your rank, whether you're in Master Ball, Toy Tier, or something else, it is now back to a reset. And now we got to get you guys back into Master Ball, or hopefully to Master Ball. You know, many have reached out to me saying, oh, you know, this is my first time reaching Master Ball, and I used one of your teams, and I can't thank you enough. Well, we've got even more teams for you to try. So without wasting any further time, let's just go ahead and show all of our 5 rental codes for the month of July. Coming in at number 1 is our Ho-Oh Groudon team that we made about a month and a half ago in a team building video. It was actually supposed to be a rental for last month, but I couldn't find anybody to make the rental code for me. I guess people were booked or had something other to do, so all I could do now is just put it off for the next month, and here it is. So basically, again, the whole idea with Ho-Oh Groudon is that Groudon's Drought ability is able to boost up the damage from Sacred Fire, which is Ho-Oh's stab damage, and then from there, it's basic you know, control and damage mitigation from Grimmsnarl, as well as Gastrodon. Now, the whole point with Gastrodon on this team is, you know, for the Kyogre matchup, right? Because Ho-Oh doesn't really like Kyogre, but if you have the Gastrodon, again, you have a tool against Kyogre here. And one of other Ho-Oh's weaknesses is Intimidate Spam, as well as Groudon, right? So what we've done is we've stuck the Thundurus on this team to discourage Intimidate, and now what you can also do with Thundurus is pair it with Groudon, and now you can make it really, really fast and hit really, really hard with Airstreams and Max Knuckle Plays. And then, of course, you have the classic Venusaur Groudon mode, right? You can click Sleep Powders, you can click Swords Dance while they're sleeping, or just Dynamax the Venusaur and then just go for Vine Lash Chip, and then Groudon and Ho-Oh can clean up in the end, alright? So now let's just go ahead and take a look at the Pokepaste so we can see how we did our EVs. Alright, so here's the EV spreads for our Ho-Oh Groudon team, and again, you notice that Groudon and Ho-Oh are pretty much very similar speeds. That's only because we don't want them to speed tie each other because they're within the same speed tier. And the whole idea with both of them is to outspeed an opposing Thundurus after +1, right? So Ho-Oh being at 121 speed and Groudon being at 120 speed, right? So this way you know who's going first, right? Because whenever you team build and you have 2 Pokemon in the same speed tier, you always want to know who goes first. You don't want to result, excuse me, in some speed ties, right? And then from there, Ho-Oh hits the Adamant Bump, the second bump in the attack stat, and then you just have leftover bulk into defense and then just special defense, right? Groudon, same idea. Again, we explained the speed tier. Now you're at the first bump with the Precipice Blades in the Adamant nature, I should say, and then the rest is just, you know, extra bulk with the HP investment and special defense investment. And the whole idea with this is that when you have Light Screen up and with this special defense investment, you're able to take a few water spots from Kyogre, and then the Citrus Berry recovery helps you, you know, mitigate that damage as well, right? The Venusaur, same idea. Venusaur, the speed tier is always meant to outspeed an opposing base 100 after a +1 Airstream, right? So if a Charizard is +1 or a Zapdos is +1, our Venusaur in the sun can still outspeed it and get off a Sleep Powder if we failed the first time around, right? So that's the whole idea there. You hit the special attack bump with 76 investment and then 156 HP just to optimize other weather damage, whether it be hail or sand chip, right? Gastrodon, so we have 0 speed investment in the Gastrodon. This is also for our Trick Room matchup. The idea here is, again, we can outspeed the Calyrex Ice Rider and then click Yawn on it, and then, you know, just to help neutralize it a little bit more, right? And of course, we hit the bump with the defense nature, and then the rest just goes into HP, which is also optimized for leftovers recovery. And then Thundurus, you know, max speed, nothing really to say here. You have a little bit of Life Orb optimization with the 36 investment, and then the rest just pretty much went into attack, right? So that's the team. So let's keep on moving and go ahead and take a look at rental number 2. Coming in at rental number 2 is our Dialga Yveltal team. So this is one that we made a little bit earlier in the month of June, but I was waiting till July to showcase it, and here it is. So it's a Life Orb Dialga team with Trick Room on the Dialga, and again, you see our Grimmsnarl comes back yet again. This time Incineroar is on the team along with Lander, so double Intimidate is really, really good. And then, of course, Yveltal is not Life Orb this time. It is the Assault Vest. That's because the Life Orb is on the Dialga. And that's a better role for Yveltal on this type of team, right? Just to support the Dialga and just be bulky and annoying on the field behind screen support, and then just, you know, wither the opponent down, weaken their team, so this way Dialga, Landorus, and even Alecki can clean up, right? And speaking of Regieleki, it's on the team with the Focus Sash, so a little bit more speed control with the Electro Web. I kept Screech on here. I was going to keep Volt Switch, but I decided Screech was still a little bit better, just a tiny bit better, just because we still have a lot of things that can benefit from Screech, like the Landorus, and even our Foul Play Yveltal can still benefit off Screech, and even Incineroar to a degree can benefit from Screech, right? So I kept it here, and then again, the whole idea is you want to take as many KOs as you can with Dynamax Dialga, and then, you know, behind screens, hopefully the Yveltal plus some filler can clean up in the end game, right? That's usually a typical mode that you want to run with this team. So yeah, so let's take a look at the EV spreads and see what our sets are. Alright, so here's the EV spreads for our Dialga Yveltal squad. So the Dialga has enough HP investment for the Life Orb optimization, then you pretty much just went max attack and a little bit of special defense, just because I only went 12 speed investment, 112, just to underspeed those Groudons that can threaten Dialga in Trick Room. So this way we can get a max Wormwood off on it and just neutralize the Groudon a little bit better, right? And then from there, the Grimmsnarl, again, same Grimmsnarl spread that we've been using for about 90% of Series 12, meant to survive the Zacian Behemoth Blade with Reflect Up, as well as an Intimidate swap in this case could come in from Landorus or Incineroar. So there's the idea there. Regieleki, nothing really to say here. And the Yveltal, we showcased this spread in our team building video. We gave up a little bit of the optimization in the HP bulk, but in exchange, we got the defensive calc that we want, which is to survive a Zacian Behemoth, a Zacian Play Rough after an Intimidate reduction. And then Landorus, you know, it's just max speed Jolly with a little bit of HP investment to give you at least a little bit of a roll against Zacian Behemoth Blade, but also ultimately it's a weather damage optimization from something like Hailstorm, right? So that's pretty much it. And I guess the Incineroar, this is the same Incineroar that we've used on our other Trick Room teams. It's just 95 speed, which is always my trademark. This is just to ensure that you get a faster fake out to help set up your Trick Room. Because if Dialga gets faked out by a faster Incineroar, that's not good, right? So that I always like a faster Incineroar for that reason. And then again, you have a quote-unquote slower parting shot, so this way whatever they bring in, you get to parting shot that. But also outside of Trick Room, you have a faster throw chop, so you stop the opposing Incineroar for going for their parting shot, right? Because it's a sound-based move. So that's the team. So let's keep on moving again with rental code number 3. Alright, so with rental number 3, this is our Solgaleo Kyogre squad, a second run around. If you remember back in February, we used the Clover 6, as I like to call it, with Tornadus and Entei, along with Solgaleo and Kyogre with Rillaboom and Grimmsnarl. This time we're taking a different approach with Solgaleo and Kyogre, also known as Catfish. I call it a Calm Fish in this one, but yeah. The idea here is to set up Trick Room and then go with a slower mode, and this way the Kyogre can sweep in the back, you know, with the correct speed. And speaking of Kyogre, this is a Calm Mind Kyogre. We did this before with Dialga, but I think it just works a little bit better with Solgaleo here. So the idea is, you know, you Dynamax Solgaleo, you get the Steel Spike and Quake boost, and then you pass on those boosts to your Kyogre, and basically your Kyogre just sits there and doesn't die, right? You set up Calm Minds, you click Protect, and then you alternate that, and then in the end, you can click Origin Pulses and Ice Beams with all those boosts, right? Zapdos, again, really, really good against stuff like, you know, an opposing Yveltal. You might even argue Thundurus is the better pick for that reason, but I like Zapdos. It's just really, really versatile, and it does a lot of damage into what's strong in the meta currently. And then even Incineroar and Amoonguss here, you always want a little bit of fake out and redirection to help set up that Trick Room for your Solgaleo, so that's what we have here. And then we have a second Trick Room setter here. It is the Porygon, right? And the Porygon gives us a bit of a better matchup against the Calyrex Shadow Rider, which Solgaleo just doesn't really like or want to deal with. Same thing with Lunala, right? So again, typical leads, you know, you could do like Instant Porygon 2, you know, parting shot into something like Solgaleo or Kyogre, and then Porygon 2 just gets up the Trick Room. And then, you know, even with the Solgaleo in, you can pass off those boosts the Steel Spike and the Quake Boost into Porygon, and then it just sits there, it doesn't die, it clicks Recover and an attack move every now and then, and you have endgame potentials with the Porygon as well as the Kyogre, right? So the Amoonguss also has Foul Play on it, and the reasoning for that is, you know, if you can lead Amoonguss Solgaleo, you click a redirection move, you click your Trick Room, and if your Amoonguss is still alive, the next turn you can Foul Play your Solgaleo and then proc the policy that way, and then just Dynamax it and smash from there. It's quite funny when you use it in ladder games, right? And then Zapdos Instant, you know, you just have a little bit of a faster mode with Zapdos. You know, you can click Airstream, make Solgaleo or Kyogre faster, and then from there, they can help support Zapdos and just deal big damage, right? So that's the rental and that's the team. Let's take a look at the spreads and see what we're going for. Alright, so basically with our spreads, again, the Zapdos is nothing really special. It's pretty much the same Zapdos reviews, you know, almost any format. Max speed with a little bit of Life Orb optimization. The Amoonguss, also the same Amoonguss spread. You know, the HP is optimized to get a perfect number recovery when you have Regenerator by switching it out. This way you don't get a decimal and then have it round down. You hit the bump with the defense with 156 investment, and then the rest just goes into special defense. And you basically just have a bulky, slow mushroom. Now the Porygon, this is a very similar Porygon that you're going to see throughout the other teams that we've been using. It's just sassy and it's slower, and it's meant to outspeed, you know, an opposing Calyrex Ice Rider as well. So this way you can go first and get off a Foul Play on it and potentially KO it if it already has Policy Prompt, right? But now the Incineroar, again, there's our fast Incineroar spread again, meant to you know, have a faster fake out and all the other reasons that I mentioned in the previous rental. But Solgaleo, again, with this speed investment, at least with an Airstream boost, you can outspeed an opposing Thundurus and, you know, just go from there. The Kyogre is meant to be slow. This way, it gives you a little bit of an advantage in the weather war against Groudon, because if you have the slower weather, then you overtake Groudon's weather, right? And that's kind of what we want to do with Kyogre as well. So, and with the spread with Kyogre, again, the HP is just meant to optimize for leftovers recovery. You hit that 192 mark, and then from there you hit the second bump, but actually 1 point above the second bump with the special attack modest nature, and then again the rest just goes into leftover bulk with the special defense being an even number. So this way you get the best bang for your buck with either a Quake boost or a Calm Mind boost. And then leftover defense, which is really, really good because this is a very bulky Kyogre. You can take some Rillaboom Grassy Glides and even you know, survive it relatively well with the Incineroar Intimidate, depending on the Rillaboom spreads, right? So that's the team. So now, again, we're just going to keep on moving and go on to rental number 4. With rental number 4, we have the dual primal rental code. So this is a team that features Kyogre and Groudon on the same team. You know, you always feature, or you always talk about a weather war in VGC. And now, what better way than to use a weather team than to combine both weathers at the same time, right? And you might think that's a little weird, but if you think about it, it actually isn't, right? Because you know, Kyogre is weak to electric attacks, right? But the thing is, Groudon's a ground type, so you can pivot your Groudon in and then soak up that electric attack, and it doesn't even do anything, right? So there's that, and then from there, you know, Groudon, you know, also weak to a water type attack. You know, you can pivot your Kyogre or Venusaur, and then, you know, it just soaks up that. So there's a little bit of synergy there in terms of defensive pivoting, right? But from here, you know, we know what the Venusaur and Groudon combination can do. This is our Focus Sash Venusaur this time around. There's no weakness policy here. And then there's the Porygon yet again, meant to set up Trick Room. Our Kyogre and Groudon are both very, very slow, but they don't have the same speed. One outspeeds the other. You'll see when we take a look at the EV spreads. And then we have a little bit of a fast mode with the Thundurus. You know, again, Thundydon was the other combination that we had on the Ho-Oh team. You know, you can, you know, discourage the Incineroar Bring by going for those Airstreams and also those Max Knuckles to boost up Groudon. I don't even know if Incineroar wants to come here because we have a Kyogre and a Thundurus. Who wants to bring Incin into this? And then the Kyogre, same idea. Next to Thundurus, you get all those Airstream boosts. And then all of a sudden now your Kyogre is very, very fast and hard hitting, which is, by the way, a Mystic Water set. So you know how hard this Kyogre can hit, right? So, and again, you always have the Dynamax fast mode with the Venusaur. And then potentially in the end games, you can clean up with Kyogre and Porygon in the end, right? So that's the team. So let's take a look at the spreads and see what we've been calcing for. All right. Actually, I'll just leave the camera like that. You already know the Thunderous speed here. So again, it is max speed, by the way. So the Kyogre and the Groudon, you see that one outspeeds the other. And I think for something like this, you want the Kyogre to override your own Groudon, not the other way around, right? Because if you have both of them out on the field at the same time, if Groudon overtakes the weather, then Kyogre's damage gets reduced, right? But if you think about it the reverse way, even if Groudon is in the rain, the Precipice Blades is not affected by rain, so it doesn't matter. So that's why you want the Kyogre to be slower, in this case, over your own Groudon. So this way, the speed tie doesn't happen, and then you don't reduce your own damage, right? The Kyogre is more or less a similar build to our other Kyogre with the leftovers. There's just a slight difference in the bulk, but it's more or less the same. The Groudon is a little bit stronger than our other Groudon. This time you're in the second EV bump in the Adamant Nature, and then just even number in the HP, just a little bit more optimization with the Citrus Berry and some special defense, because that's just our leftover bulk. Again, that's the same Porygon spread that we've been using, so no need to really say anything there. And the Venusaur, of course, is 252 Sash. Pretty straightforward. And once again, there's our faster Incineroar, with the faster Fake Out to help set up our Trick Room, right? We have a lot of Trick Room teams this time around. And then, of course, Thunderous is the same exact spread as the other team, so there's that. So let's go on to rental number 5. All right, and this is the 5th rental code that we have here. And again, this is the Dialga and Calyrex Ice Rider team. This is the one that we've been working on most recently. And we had a little bit of input from a couple good players like Pengi, Neil, and Buenti. And pretty much we agreed that we needed the Indeedee here, just to have redirection support to help set up that Trick Room. And then the Fast Mode with the Regieleki helps a little bit with the Electro Web spam, along with Dialga not having Trick Room, but instead being a little bit faster and having 4 attacks with the Power Gem. And we'll talk about why we have Power Gem when we look at the pace. But again, pretty much relatively standard from there. Incineroar and Porygon, both made to be slower than the Calyrex in Trick Room, which means you outspeed it technically. So this way you can activate the policy with Foul Play and or Throat Chop, and then get the Calyrex going from there. But the main idea with the team is, again, you have the option to, lead Indeedee and Porygon. Just have them kill your Indeedee. You get the free switch into Dialga. And then you take as many KOs as you can with Dynamax Dialga, and then from there you have Calyrex Ice Rider, finish games off after Dialga is finished, right? Or you go the reverse route and you go with a Dynamax or a pressured Calyrex Ice Rider early, and then have a late game Dynamax with Dialga instead. So you have a couple options here, and again, you can always do like faster modes with like Aleki and Dialga with Electro Web spamming, and just clicking Steel Spikes and Quake Boost. Which, by the way, Porygon and both Calyrex Ice Rider enjoy, so this way you can make them relatively quote-unquote unkillable with those boosts, right? And the Indeedee, we have Safeguard here, just so that we can deny, Sleep Powder stuff, or even Spore stuff from like an Amoonguss, or even like Venusaur stuff, so that's always welcome. That's our little tech here, and it's relatively standard with the way the team can play. So let's go ahead and look at the EVs and see what we've been calcing and trying to do our EVs for. Okay, so here's the EV spreads, and again with the Dialga here, so notice again that it's really fast. Well, not really fast, but faster. 127 or 128 is what I was going for, mainly to outspeed those annoying Reshirams that are running around, because Reshiram can do relatively well against this type of team, but if we can outspeed it and go for the Max Wormrun on it, then that helps us a lot, right? And again, with the 4 attacks, the Power Gem, the Rock Move, really good against Charizard and other flying types, especially for ladder games. It's really nice. Calyrex is pretty straightforward. So is Porygon. So is Incineroar. But the Incineroar spread, I will say, is a little bit different this time around. It is much slower because what we want to do is outspeed our Calyrex in Trick Room, get the Throat Chop off, and then proc the policy, and then Dynamax it and smash from there. Porygon, same idea. You want to be able to foul play your own Calyrex and then proc the policy that way. and then Calyrex again can just smash from there. And the Indeedee, that's a bold Indeedee set. Again, most Indeedees are either bold or relaxed, and the main reasoning is just so that you're able to take one Zacian Behemoth Blade, survive, and live to tail, and then you safely get up your Trick Room with the Porygon or even the Calyrex Ice Rider, right? So that's the team. So we've done all 5 rentals. Now, hopefully, you guys can jump on the ladder and use one of them, and let me know how you do. And again, we're almost to the World Championships in August, so hopefully some of these teams can help you guys out in your journey if you're still playing some online tours. But we have no more regionals left until the World Championships, so it's just all pretty much left as the online tours. So the other thing is, if you still want coaching, we still have it. Tier 2 sub to the channel will give you the option of sending me a Pokepaste, and then we will fix and optimize it based on what I think is strong or optimal in the meta right now. Or you can do the more popular one, which is the Tier 3 sub to the channel, which is the team building one, where you and I, we sit down in a Discord call and we build a team from scratch, and I show you how to do all the EVs, I show you how to do calcs, and I just basically teach you VGC fundamentals with that coaching session, right? So definitely take a look at that. And again, both tiers are available in the video description below, so check that out. And again, if you haven't subbed already to the channel, make sure you click that sub button, okay? So this way you know when I release and put out a video. So that's all 5 teams, so let me know which one you guys like, and that'll be it. We'll be doing videos for the next week and a half or so, showcasing these teams. So until then, guys, peace out. Have a good night.